This is Turd Flinging Monkey for TFM News. I'm going to be responding to an article in the New York Times called Wanted in China, More Male Teachers to Make Boys Men by Javier C. Hernandez. Now, I did an article a while ago called China Did a Thing, where I talked about how China was reforming divorce laws to actually be gender neutral and not just overtly favor women. And a lot of people are like, oh man, China's so great, I'm gonna move to China, and oh, China. I hate to rain on that parade, I hate to burst your bubble. But, we're going to rip the Band-Aid off quickly. I wish I had some good news. I wish I could tell you there was this, promised land out there where men weren't treated like shit and disposable utilities by women in society. But there isn't. The fact is, gynocentrism has two sides. It's like a coin. On one side of that coin is feminism. This is just overt female domination of men, shameless, open pandering to women. And men just getting completely fucked over and treated like ATMs. But the other side is traditionalism. And in traditionalism, the men are empowered to sacrifice for women. I mean, they're given a little bit of authority over women, but not really much. At no point does society value the man equal to the woman. The man is inherently disposable in a traditionalist society. He just gets a little attaboy, a pat on the back. In a feminist society, men are told they're, misogynist shitlords and they should go eat shit and die and just give their money to women. Hashtag whatever, kill all men, male tears. In a traditional society, men are encouraged to do all those things, sacrifice for women, give their money to women, die for women. But instead of being called misogynist shitlords, they're just patted on the back and told they're good men. That's the only difference between a feminist society and a traditional society. Now, unfortunately, the West has gone completely full retard feminist, where men are just attacked at every angle. Like the thing with Roosh V. He can't even, have a little meetup. He's getting, bomb threats and violence and shit and has to shut down. Just wants to talk to men. Nope, can't do it. Oh, you're encouraging rape. Just fucking retarded bullshit. Full retard. Full retard. But in the East, like the Middle East and Asia, you have traditionalism. And it's still bad for men. There is no paradise, there is no promised land. It's basically, do you want to get shot in this leg or do you want to get shot in this leg? Anyway, I'm sorry, I've gone on a pretty long tangent. Let me actually get into the article. So in this article, they're encouraging male teachers to enter the teaching profession, which, just like in the West, has been completely dominated by women, in order to teach boys masculinity. Now, let's see how in a traditional society they define masculinity. The article begins, quote, Lin Wei, 27, one of a handful of male 6th grade teachers at a primary school here, has made a habit of telling stories about warlords who threw witches into rivers and soldiers who outsmarted Japanese troops. Quote, men have special duties, he said. They have to be brave, protect women, and take responsibility for wrongdoing, unquote. So again, protect women, take responsibility. Welcome to traditionalism. Now, at least they don't have this equality bullshit. But notice how men are still disposable. This is not a utopia for men. The next paragraph reads, quote, worried that a shortage of male teachers has produced a generation of timid, self-centered, and effeminate boys, Chinese educators are working to reinforce traditional gender roles and values in the classroom, unquote. So this is making feminists cringe, obviously, because they're all about, overturning gender roles. But they're really not. Notice what feminism actually does. It doesn't actually invert the relationship between men and women, making women to protect men and be responsible. Oh, no, 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 no. They just want the good stuff that went with that authority that men had, while saddling the men with all the responsibility. Women do not want any responsibility. They just want the authority that would normally come with their responsibility. That's where you get this egalitarian bullshit, where men and women are treated as equal. Oh, we're equal. Oh, well, let's share power. Let's share authority. But the man is ultimately responsible. That's fucking horseshit. That's not equality. That's oppression of men. If he's the one bearing all the responsibility, he should have all the authority. Period. But of course, in the name of feminism and equality, quote unquote, it just oppresses the shit out of men. But notice what they're trying to combat in boys. Quote, timid, self-centered, and effeminate boys. So self-centered is the one I really want to focus on. I mean, effeminate, sure. I mean, they're trying to instill female values into boys, obviously. But being self-centered is not considered a masculine trait, which is kind of funny because I agree, it's a very feminine trait to be self-centered. I mean, just think about that. They want these boys to grow up to be sacrificial lambs in the altar of their women and their society. And what are they offering in return? They're not offering anything in return. Just, be a good man. Go sacrifice yourself. We need to teach you to be a masculine man. Don't be a timid, self-centered, effeminate boy. Go sacrifice yourself for women. That's what a real man does. The next paragraph reads in Xingzhou. I can't read Chinese, so I'm just totally gonna wing it when it comes to the pronunciation. Just go with it. In Xingzhou, a city on the Yellow River, schools have asked boys to sign pledges to act like, quote, real men, unquote. In Shanghai, principals are trying boys-only classes with courses like martial arts, computer repair, and physics. In Hangzhou, in eastern China, educators have started a summer camp called West Point Boys, complete with taekwondo classes and the motto, quote, we bring out the men and boys, unquote. So I'm all for the gender segregation and the teaching boys like physics and martial arts. That's awesome. But it's a whole real men. Like, what is a real man? Of course, it's not someone who thinks about themselves. It's someone who's willing to sacrifice their lives. That's what real men do. Now, what is a real woman? You notice you never hear that. Nobody ever asks, what's a real woman? A real woman is a woman who makes babies, who lays there with her legs open, letting the man sexually satisfy her, performs a biological process, and has a baby. That's all a woman is expected to do at all. Like, there's no expectation on them to do anything other than make a baby. All the responsibility is on the man. I would just like, there to be some sort of compensation for all of this responsibility that men are expected to bear. The next paragraph reads, education officials across China are aggressively recruiting male teachers as the Chinese news media warns of a need to salvage masculinity in schools. The call for more male-oriented education has prompted a broader debate about gender equality and social identity at a time when the country's leaders are seeking to make the labor market more meritocratic. It also reflects a general anxiety about boys in Chinese society. While boys outnumber girls as a result of the long-standing one-child policy and a cultural preference for sons, they consistently lag in academic performance. Some parents worry about their son's prospect in an uncertain economy, so they are putting their hopes in male role models who they believe impart lessons on assertiveness, courage, and sacrifice. Unquote. Let me just stop there. So, the academic thing, they've proven that boys do better on testing, but girls do homework more consistently. And testing is actually more important than anything, because it shows what you know, not if you can copy off your friends or look up the answers at home, but actually what you know. Now, at this point, I also want to kind of pop the bubble about China being this, utopia, because you'll soon see that these Chinese women have their own kind of pseudo-feminist movement going. So here's Zhu Rongfang, a student at Fujian Normal University, wondered why women should not get similar benefits to enter traditionally male fields. Quote, if women go into architecture, shouldn't the government give them a free education too, she said. Why should men get this benefit? See, there you go. Oh, what, men are getting something? Well, women need it too. And then men will be like, well, women get all these things. What about men? Well, fuck you, man. That's the patriarchy. Brr. Only women get the special treatment. I want to keep all my special treatment, and I want your special treatment too. Because that's equality. It's equality when women get special treatment that's normally afforded to men. But then if men complain about the special treatment afforded to women, oh, that, quit your bitching. You're just a basement troll. You're just jealous. You're jealous of my lady lumps. Now later on in the article it says, quote, in recent years, education officials in Fujian, Zhanghua, and Jiangsu have created incentives for male teachers, arguing that men bring an energetic style that appeals to boys. I agree. Still, it is not clear that children derive academic benefits from studying with teachers of the same sex. A 2008 study of 9,000 11-year-olds in Britain found no tie between male teachers and higher academic performance among boys. Okay, a little point about this. A 2008 study in Britain looking at 11-year-olds. So if you've seen any of my previous videos about this, between 11 and 13, girls begin puberty, and they start to kind of take off and separate from the boys academically and mentally. But then the boys catch up when they start puberty around 13 to 15, and then they overtake girls and are then smarter going forward. And I want to close with the final two paragraphs of this article. It says, Mr. Lin, in his classroom in Fuzhou, said he felt a responsibility to teach his students, quote, to be brave. In his history lessons, he speaks about the physical effort by the men who built the Great Wall. and in a nod to chivalry, he prods boys to apologize to girls when they get into fights. Each year, he recounts the story of the 5 heroes of Langhua Mountain, a tale meant to underscore the importance of sacrifice. In the story, a group of soldiers lured the Japanese army up a mountain during World War II, giving the Chinese army time to regroup. The soldiers on the mountain, rather than be killed by the Japanese when they reach the top, jump from the side, shouting, "Long live the Communist Party," as they fall. Unquote, end of article. So this is traditionalism. Now, I did a video a while back called Be a Real Cow, and this is the same message. It's all about, boys are here to be disposable, to sacrifice for women. The only silver lining is they do value men. I mean, compared to a feminist society, it almost seems like a step up, because you're going from a society where you're just told you're shit. You're being shit on every day, told you're a misogynist, cisgendered, whatever, and everybody's blaming you for everything, and you just feel powerless and hated, to at least in the traditional society, yeah, you're still a disposable utility, you're still basically treated like shit, your life is worth nothing, but at least you're told you're a good man. You get a pat on the back and a scratch on the belly, maybe a wet pussy on your dick once in a while. It seems like a step up, but we could do better. We could do so much better. Men, we can do better than traditionalism. I understand the value of reproduction. I understand that without reproduction, there's no human species. I get that. But we are entering an age where potentially we can solve this problem, where we don't need women to reproduce. Women do nothing. They bring nothing to society. Everything they do, a man can do better. It's been proven. All they do is perform a biological function. Nature created men to do all the things, and they created women to create more men to do all the things. They're just incubators for men. And for the life of me, I just do not understand why men create the society, maintain the society, and then sacrifice themselves for women who bring nothing to the society. You don't need to sacrifice yourself. This concept of masculinity, to be a good man, you have to sacrifice yourself for women. It's total bullshit. You don't have to sacrifice yourself for anyone. I talk about this in my Matrix of Tribal Identity videos. I support that which supports me. If you want my loyalty, you need to give me loyalty in return. If you want my support, you need to support me. In a society that doesn't value men, I don't value that society. I don't give a shit if it stays or goes or burns down to the ground. I don't give a fuck, because it doesn't give a fuck about me. If it doesn't care about my life, why should I care about it? If it doesn't care whether I live or die, why should I care if that society stands or fails? I mean, just ask yourself that question. If your society doesn't value you as a man, if it views you as just a piece of shit that needs to be thrown away, fuel to be thrown on the fire, why do you care about it? Why do you sacrifice yourself for it? We could do better. We could do so much better. If men are the ones creating and holding up the world, then men should be the ones ruling it. And they don't need to share. A farmer that owns livestock will protect his livestock. He will make sure his livestock get medical care, get food, a warm place to stay, all that stuff. He's caring about the livestock, but he's not doing it for the livestock's benefit. He's doing it for his benefit. This is the key. Men, we can take care of women, we can protect society, but we need to do it for our benefit, not for theirs. They don't deserve it. Yeah, I'll probably do a video about this specifically, but that's all I have to say right now. This is Turd Flinging Monkey signing off.